Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the American Safeguard Insurance Studios. Your hosts, Matt McJunkins and Matt Wilcox, your source for Arkansas high school sports. You are now between the mats.
Welcome to Between the Mats. I am Matt McJunkins. Right alongside me is the man, the myth, the legend, Matty Stats Wilcox. How you doing, Matt?
I'm good, Joe. How are you?
I'm doing awesome, man. We are live here in the American Safeguard Insurance Studio, and we have had maybe the best weekend in the history of football.
There's no doubt in my mind. I mean, the junior high Panthers won a conference championship. The senior high Panthers went undefeated in the regular season for only the second time in the history of the program and won a 5A West conference championship. Hogs won. Broncos won. Man, it's just been a great weekend.
Bisons won.
Right.
Wore my Harding hat tonight.
Yeah, I see. Representing.
Bears rolled yesterday. Did you see that?
They were up like 63-0 in the third quarter.
Yeah. I sent a text to Logan Jessup last night.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, y'all rolled. He said it was awesome.
Absolutely.
I bet it was. So we're excited because the Hogs pulled it out.
What a ball game, man. What a ball game. Of course, we took a visit to Pitt State this weekend.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
And so we were actually on our way back, and I got to listen to the last part of the game the whole way back. And, man, I didn't know, just not being able to watch it. I just didn't think when we got the ball back with, 2:22 left.
Yeah.
I thought, man, there's no way.
So it's into the third quarter, start of the fourth quarter, and Katie had told me we had plans to go to some friend's house that night.
Right.
And I'm working on some stuff on my computer for the podcast, and I'm watching the game. And she's like, all right, boys, get your shoes on. And I'm like, I think she thinks we're leaving right now. She was right.
Yeah.
So the whole way there, I've got it on my phone playing. When I get there, and fortunately they had it on there.
Well, that's good.
So I got to see the end of it on the big screen. So, I'm the same way though. I was like, I don't know that we're going to do this.
Yeah, I know, man. I had my doubts, but dadgum. What's even more frustrating is you give the ball back to them with 21 seconds left and let them go the length of the field.
I know it.
To set up a game-tying field goal.
Yes.
Like, how do you do that? How do you go 70 yards in 20 seconds?
I don't know.
It blows my mind.
I mean, part of me was like, yeah, just give up that short stuff. Give it up. But then you're like, well, I mean, you can't give up too much.
Right, sure.
I mean, a decent kicker. I mean, you would think Little would have made that.
Yeah, you would think so. I mean, poor kicker, man.
I know, poor two kickers.
I don't know if they got a job today.
Everybody keeps showing the picture of Little over there, with his arm around the guy, and everybody's like, we're so proud of our kicker. He's such a good person. I'm thinking, he went over there and said, I don't know if you saw it, but I made one from 63 earlier. Or 53.
53.
Yeah.
All right, so a few stats on the game. Hogs pull out a close win, but it's a win and makes us bowl eligible. Man, I saw a stat 2 years ago this week. We were getting the brakes beat off of us by Western Kentucky. So,
I did. I saw that too. Oh my gosh.
So where we've come from that point to now, man, I'm just happy to be a Hog fan right now. So
let me tell you, if you're not sold on KJ now,
yeah,
how could you ever be?
I mean, he's a gamer.
He is.
He's a gamer.
He's tough.
He is. All right, so Mississippi State had 28 first downs. Hogs had 23. Mississippi State was 6 of 12 on third down, which is pretty darn good. But the Hogs were 6 of 13, which is as good as they've been all year on third down. We did give up 2 for 2 on fourth down to Mississippi State. They passed for 417 yards. Their quarterback, Mr. Will Rogers, was 36 of 48 for 417 yards. Pretty impressive.
It is, and I really believe all you can do is just try to contain him.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I think that's the second week in a row he's completed 36 passes. Rushing, we held them to 69 yards, which is pretty solid. They only rushed the ball 26 times, which is 2.7 yards a carry. Offensively, Arkansas had 393 yards of offense, 191 passing. KJ was 19 of 23, I'm sorry. Davion Warren and Traylon Burks each had a pass attempt that was incomplete. And then we rushed the ball against I think that I saw they were the number 5 rushing defense, only giving up 89 yards a game. We ran the ball for 202 yards, which is impressive.
It really was, and I'm glad that when it came down to the 2-point conversion and they're at the end of score, that we relied on our running game.
Yeah.
It's so easy not to,
Right.
when it's those you got one play chances. Yeah, just like the 2-point conversion at Ole Miss, which it's easy. Hindsight's 20/20. It's easy to say we should have ran the ball.
Yeah.
But I mean, the fact is that's where we're strong.
That is. And our offensive line got a great push.
They did.
Got us in there untouched almost for the touchdown, and then just dominated on the 2-point conversion as well. Traylon Burks, we just continue to rave about this kid, but, man, he's special. 6 catches, 82 yards, and a touchdown. He also had 3 carries for 39 yards. Dominique Johnson had a coming out party. John.
Well, he did. He was their go-to guy from the get-go.
Yeah. 17 carries, 107 yards, 2 touchdowns. What
He's a
ball
big boy,
game.
too.
Yeah, for sure. So, Hogs got LSU this week, my man. Go down to Baton Rouge to play the Tigers, which before last week, before Saturday's game against Alabama, I kind of chalked this one up as a W, but I don't know anymore, man.
And, they went over – who was it that somebody beat a couple 3 weeks ago that I was like, oh, that's not supposed to
Beat
happen.
Florida.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
They beat Florida. They beat Mississippi State by 3 just like we did.
Mm-hmm.
What scares me about them is watching their defense against Alabama. They're physical.
They've always had freak athletes,
right?
And that hasn't changed. I don't know how much Coach O, he wanted to beat Alabama,
right?
I don't know how much he'll put into beating Arkansas.
I kind of feel like they're kind of just laying it all out because he's gone.
Sure.
And I really feel like that the kids have responded to that.
They have. Yeah, that's right.
It's a concerning game just for one reason. It's hard to play in Baton Rouge.
Absolutely.
But, I mean, we elite defenses have not been good for us.
No.
We did not do anything against Georgia.
No, we didn't.
Even Missouri kicked a field goal against Georgia.
True. That's true.
But if we win one of the next 3, which you figure you got to chalk the Missouri game up
You
as
would
a
think
win.
so, yeah.
Then we're sitting here at 7-5, and you're like, if you'd asked before the season if you'd be happy with that, you'd say 100%.
Yeah. That's right. So a little bit about LSU. They're averaging 28.7 points per game. They're giving up 27.8 points per game. Total yards offensively, 372 a game, with 260 passing and 111 rushing. And they're allowing almost 400 yards a game, 250 yards in the air and 148 on the ground.
LSU is?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So
maybe we're okay.
I think they just played out of their mind Saturday.
They did, yep.
So it'll be a good ball game. I think the Hogs will be amped up to get to go down there and play. So we'll see. I don't think their quarterback is very good, honestly.
No.
I think if we can get after him a little bit, get him shook, I think we'll be okay.
I'll say this too: you can't. Now, granted, playing in Tuscaloosa is a nightmare, but they have not shown that they can chalk any game up to a win, other than your bottom feeders.
That's right.
Because I'm telling you, Florida had a chance to beat them. Ole Miss, they really didn't perform.
No.
LSU really had a chance to beat them.
They did.
And then A&M, who we beat the brakes off of.
Right.
But it goes over there to Tuscaloosa, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and beats them.
Yeah, it's just wild.
No, that was down. That was down in.
That was an
A&M. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
they rushed the field.
Yeah.
And Nick Saban's security DDT'd some girl.
No doubt. All right, so UCA, we talked about a little bit earlier, dominated Texas Wesleyan on their homecoming, 63-3. Braylon Smith, man, what a ball game he had.
Boy, did he.
13 of 17 for 410 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Yep.
Tyler Hudson, who will play in the league more than likely next year, 5 catches, 178 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Yes, I think Winningham had a score. He didn't have the steps that Hudson did, but man, how about the defense?
Yeah,
-3 yards rushing.
That's insane. That's just crazy. Bears are at home again this week against Stephen F. Austin. SFA is having a good year. They're 6-3 on the season, so that ought to be a fun game there. Arkansas State lost to App State 48-14. No shocker there. They're 1-8 on the season. They go to Louisiana Monroe this weekend. And Hatcher's Boy, Lane Hatcher's struggling a little bit right now, Junk. He's thrown 6 picks in the last 2 ball games.
But you got to consider what he's working with.
Sure.
And I don't know this. I honestly hadn't been watching him, but I feel like he's probably been running for his life.
He may have. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about them Bisons.
Them Bisons, son.
Yeah. They're rolling
55-7 over Southwestern Oklahoma State. Not a shocker. They had not won a game, but if you look at their stats and the games, they should have won a bunch.
Really?
Yeah, they just couldn't close it.
Yeah.
But Harding goes in there, runs for 459 yards, which is about 150 yards less than they did last week. But they threw the ball one time and scored a touchdown.
I'll be darned. 1 for 1.
1 for 1, which the GAC has kind of turned out to be an interesting little deal because so Southeast Oklahoma beat Harding at their place.
Right.
Then Harding just dominates OBU and Henderson. And then I want to say Henderson pulled off a win over somebody this weekend. I don't remember who it was. They kicked a field goal in the final seconds to win.
Really?
But Southwestern Oklahoma beat, I think, OBU Saturday.
Did they really?
I think that's right. I may have it backwards. I know that Henderson's kicked a field goal, but I saw where I went back and looked at Southeast Oklahoma because I'm thinking, well, if they haven't lost anybody else, then Harding may not have the championship.
Right.
But Oklahoma Baptist beat them. So right now, Harding kind of holds their own destiny. They go to Tech this weekend.
Okay.
For the final game of the regular season.
Yeah.
As long as they win, they'll have that first place spot. But it looks like maybe right now, it's going to be probably between Henderson and OBU for the second seed.
Yeah.
Which is this weekend.
The Battle of the Ravine.
And if Henderson beats OBU this weekend, OBU may not make the playoffs.
Wow. That's crazy. They've been ranked top 10 most of the year.
Yeah, and have been for the last 5-6
Right.
years.
Yeah.
So Harding's number 3 right now. D2.com.
Are they really?
D2football.com, yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, all right. Well, let's get into our picks from last week. I just continue to take a drumming by Mr. Junk Vegas over here.
Man, it's just not going well for you.
It's not, man. I've had a rough year. I have. So tell us about the stats from last week.
All right. So neither one of us knocked the ball out of the park.
No, we didn't have a good
I was
week.
17 for 25 for 68%. And you were 15 for 25 for 60%. We have not had an F yet.
That's good. That's good.
And you kept from it.
Barely.
Barely. I mean, I think if you had 14.9 wins this week, you would have got an F. So anyway, I'm leading by 7, but it's playoff time, and anything can happen.
That's
now.
right. That's right. I'm still holding out hope that I can make a comeback.
You got a chance. You do.
All right, so our highlights, we'll get into our player highlights from last week. And, man, the last week of the regular season did not disappoint. We had some great ball games. It was finally football weather. Had a little chill in the air and a lot of championship games to be had. And we had some great performances. So we'll jump right into it. In Hackett, Peyton Hester had 236 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns in the second half, also ran 80-yard reception and a touchdown there as well.
All right, I'm going to do the next 2 schools because Greenbrier is one of them.
Yes,
all
please
right?
do.
All right. So over in Benton, Strand Smith, who just does it every week, it seems like. He was 26 for 39, 369 yards, 4 touchdowns. Cam Harris, also a name we hear all the time. He had 6 catches, 166 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Casey Johnson ran the ball 13 times for 133 yards and 3 touchdowns. Greenbrier, Friday night, big game against the Valonia Eagles in Greenbrier. Cooper Wilcox was 17 of 26 for 170 yards, 2 touchdowns, 17 carries for 84 yards and a touchdown. Nick Hewitt from Greenbrier, 27 carries, 168 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jacob Mathis, 6 catches, 53 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 sacks that were pivotal. Carter McElhaney from Greenbrier, 5 catches, 78 yards, and had 2 huge plays called back.
Yes, he did.
One of them was a touchdown. Yeah. And then one other thing I put on here was Bradley Turnage, the kicker from Greenbrier. He was 6 for 6 from PATs and 1 for 1 for field goals, which is a great night.
Yes.
But on the season, he is a perfect 61 for 61 and 6 for 6 from field goal.
That's just unheard of.
It just doesn't happen.
No. All right, so over in Berryville, Mr. Damian Helmlinger had 12 tackles and a 3-0 shutout win.
I'm going to go ahead and say he was probably the player of the game for them that
I'm
night.
going to say you're right.
when you shut somebody out, you score 3 points to win. Defense is definitely getting the stakes bought that
Yes.
night. Jaden Fricks over at Ashdown, he ran 4 touchdowns and he caught another one, and this was all in the first half.
Goodness gracious. Busy man in the first
Yeah,
half.
he was.
El Dorado, Mr. Jackie Washington, a name we've heard on here several times. 5 catches, 173 yards, 2 touchdowns. Deandra Burns for El Dorado, 3 catches, 127 yards, 2 touchdowns. Shadarius Plummer, 16 carries, 168 yards, and 4 touchdowns. And Sherman Rester from El Dorado, 13 of 16 for 386 yards and 5 touchdowns. What a night.
You think about that. Shadarius Plummer had he averaged over 10 yards a carry and had 4 touchdowns. And wasn't maybe the best performance on the team.
Right.
I mean, it's up there.
Yeah.
But when you're 13 for 16, that's tough.
That's solid.
All right, so over at Fayetteville, Bladen Fike, a name we've heard quite a bit, he had 125 yards rushing. No, I'm sorry. He's a quarterback. He threw for 125 yards and 3 touchdowns. I didn't have his numbers, though. I don't know. It seems like I forgot to go back and look at that. But anyway, he threw for 125 yards with 3 touchdowns. Isaiah Satana, who is now
Yes, sir.
a Razorback.
That's right, baby. Come, stay home, baby.
That's
Stay
right.
home.
He told Oregon, see you guys later.
Yep, no doubt.
He had 3 catches for 74 yards and a score. Jalen Blackburn at Fayetteville, he caught and threw for a touchdown.
Nice. Eli Wisdom, Shiloh Christian, 12 of 17 for 248 yards, 5 touchdowns through the air, 4 carries for 53 yards, and a touchdown, all in the first half.
That's nice.
And then Caden Henley, Razorback commit, 2 catches for 25 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then on defense, he had 8 tackles, 1 tackle for a loss, and that was in the first half as well.
Man, he is just unreal.
I can't wait to see him in a Hog uniform.
Yeah, for sure. I actually reached out to them today because I was like, we talk about Shiloh Christian all the time, and Eli and some of those guys get a lot of recognition because of their stats, whereas Caden Henley's not really a big stats guy because he's so all over the field.
Right.
He goes. Obviously, they threw it to him twice. He scored twice.
Right.
He's the guy. Okay, we need something. Come on in here, right?
Yeah.
But then he's such a big deal on defense, which is what he's going to play college football for. And you don't get a lot of defensive stats. So I was like, hey man, what were your stats? Because we need to talk about you.
Sure.
So anyway, I kind of like the kid. I think he's pretty special. Over at Rivercrest, Latham, 3 catches, 107 yards, 2 touchdowns. Mike Sharp, 12 for 15, 216 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's pretty efficient.
Yes, sir.
And then Kobe Turner, who is the sophomore brother of Cam Turner.
Is that right?
He sure is. 12 carries for 95 yards and 2 touchdowns.
I'll be dang.
And that's a good Rivercrest team. I think they've got 1 loss in the year.
Yep. Old Daryl Kadich, I believe.
Golly.
I know he was before this last week. He was in 2nd place in the state in rushing yards, and he may have caught up after this performance. 34 carries, 331 yards, and 4 touchdowns on the night.
I mean, we've seen that 2 or 3 other times this year.
Yeah.
That's just crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
All right, so let me find my place here. Okay, here we go. David Sorg at Fort Smith Southside, 21 of 35 for 295 yards and 5 touchdowns.
What a night.
That he is.
Josh Ficklin at Bentonville, I had 18 carries for 103 yards, 3 touchdowns. Chaz Nimrod, 4 catches for 142 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Drew Wright, you talk about efficient, 15 of 17 for 301 yards and 4 touchdowns on the night.
Wow. Boogie Carr over at Conway, boy, they took a tough loss.
Heartbreaker.
I mean, they were in the lead pretty much the whole game,
Yeah.
till 20 seconds left
That's
in the
right.
game.
Yeah.
And, we both picked that
That's
they
right.
would win that game, and it's not over.
No, it's not.
But Boogie Carr from Conway, 22 carries, 152 yards, and 1 touchdown.
Right, in Bryant, or actually in Conway from Bryant, Mytorian Singleton, 8 catches, 128 yards. He caught the game-winning catch with 21 seconds left. And Carson Burnett, the quarterback there for the Hornets, was 15 of 21 for 245 yards and a touchdown and 73 yards rushing and a touchdown on the ground as well.
Cade Seldom Ridge, Rogers, 2 touchdowns, catches, a punt return for a touchdown, and a 60-yard kickoff return.
Nice.
That's a bunch of all-purpose yards.
Yeah. Mr. Donovan Witten from Arkadelphia, 13 of 19 for 285 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, and also carried the ball 5 times for 68 yards and another touchdown. So 5 touchdowns on the night for Mr. Witten. Great ball game there. His teammate Alex Loy had 5 catches for 113 yards, 3 touchdowns. Ja'Shawn Davis, the human wrecking ball.
He is.
20 carries, 121 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 catches for 44 yards and a touchdown. And Braylon Bailey from Arkadelphia, 4 catches, 92 yards, and a touchdown.
Did we ever talk about Ja'Shawn as far as like his recruiting?
I don't think so.
I'd like to. I may ask Coach Shucker about that because I'd like to know.
Yeah.
You know who's somebody. People have got to be after him.
Yeah, I think Cooper had talked to him a little bit after our game.
Yeah.
And he said something about some of the D1 schools that were on him this summer have kind of gone silent. Like they won't call him back now. So I don't really know what's going on there.
Well, he's special.
He is.
He's special, and both sides can play both sides of the ball. All right, so Chi Henry at Can Buren. That is Van Buren. I just can't type. Van Buren, 11 catches for 114 yards, 2 touchdowns.
He's had a heck of a year.
Boy, yes.
In Crossit, Tyreek Jones, 67 yards passing and 173 yards rushing with 3 touchdowns.
Tracker Whitted from Hamburg, or Whited, 15 carries, 170 yards, 1 touchdown, and also at Hamburg, Brent Holland for 2 catches for 82 yards and a score.
Walter Katsavis at Northside, 7 for 10 passing for 103 yards. Ty Massey, his teammate there, had 16 carries for 176 yards and 4 touchdowns. And old Sunquist Church, Northside, 9 carries, 106 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
I looked at his Twitter handle, and it's not his Twitter handle, but if you click on his Twitter, under it says Church Boy. I love it.
That's cool.
Love it. Jalen White over at Parkview, 10 for 14, 194 yards and 3 touchdowns. Willie Eccles at Parkview, 2 catches, 137 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Omarion Robinson at Parkview, a kickoff return for a touchdown and an interception. I really feel like Parkview's going to make some noise in the playoffs.
They could, man. They're playing some ball, and they've got some special athletes on that team.
They do.
At Prescott, Jalen Hobson, 19 carries, 270 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Jacqueline Zachary from Prescott, 87-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. And Omarion Dickens from Prescott, 4 catches, 160 yards and a touchdown. And Karsten Poole, 174 yards passing and a touchdown. The Curly Wolves just continue to put up points.
It's crazy. Over at Whitehall, this is a team that you really look at their defense, but they got a couple guys that can take the ball downfield as well. Zaire Green, 9 carries, 83 yards, and a rushing touchdown. And then Duran Kane from Whitehall, 15 carries for 86 yards.
And then talk about their defense.
So apparently they held BB to 100 total yards.
That's insane. That defense is special.
They are, and BB has actually moved the ball a lot this year, scored a lot of points.
They have. So in Nettleton, Cameron Scarlett, big win for Nettleton Friday night, beating Wynn and winning the East Championship over there.
Boy, it is.
Cameron Scarlett had a good game, 3 touchdowns rushing and 1 passing.
That's what's crazy is you're looking at Wynn as far as the playoffs go, and you're like, well, they'll be the 1 seed if they win this game. And it didn't really hit me that Nettleton is the conference champion.
Yeah, conference champ, undefeated, 10-0.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Over at Charleston, Brandon Scott, 13 for 17 for 206 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then 2 rushing touchdowns. What a night there. Brevin Ketter, Charleston, 19 carries, 159 yards, and 1 touchdown, 1 fumble recovery. His brother, Bryden Ketter, old kicker / receiver, he had a reception for a touchdown and a rushing touchdown.
Okay, in Lone Oak, Mr. Braden Allen, the super sophomore over there, is 15 of 22 for 232 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 17 carries for 115 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then his teammate Landon Jones had 11 catches for 145 yards and a touchdown.
Let's see here. That was Lone Oak, right?
Yes, sir.
Isaiah Jones from Nashville. No, that's not right. I did something wrong there. Anyway, I've got Ethan Gunner from Nashville, 16 for 26, 165 yards, 2 touchdowns. I don't know what I did there. Trey Hopkins from Nashville, 29 carries, 267 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And then Sloan Perrin from Nashville, 13 carries, 91 yards, and 1 touchdown. I think I might have taken one of Lone Oaks guys out
Gotcha.
on accident.
And don't look now, but Greenwood Bulldogs are playing their best football at the right time.
Right time of the year.
They are. Hunter Houston, 18 of 20 for 250 yards and a touchdown, and Javon Williamson, 11 carries for 71 yards and 2 touchdowns.
You know, that was such a statement win Friday night.
Absolutely.
They blanked
Yeah,
a Lake Hamilton team that has ran all over the country this
they
year.
have.
All right, so North Little Rock, Malachi Gober. This is a big win for them over
It
Cabot. Malachi Gober was 22 of 33 for 197 yards and a score, and then he carried the ball 11 times for 54 yards and a touchdown. Javante Harris for North Little Rock, 19 carries, 78 yards and 2 touchdowns. Ja'Cory Stewart, North Little Rock, 6 catches, 76 yards and 1 touchdown. And let me tell you, these guys right here, they don't have a lot of flashy stats.
Sure.
They just balance it out and play
right.
defense.
That's right. They play hard-nosed football.
That's right.
In Pine Bluff, Mr. William Howell, 16 of 21 for 314 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Glenn Barnes had 10 carries for 83 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then also Courtney Crutch from Pine Bluff had 5 catches for 53 yards and 2 scores.
Over at Little Rock Christian, Walker White, 7 for 10, 120 yards and 3 touchdowns. Javion Dyer Jones, 4 carries, 118 yards and 2 touchdowns. Brian Gittins, 8 carries for 66 yards and 2 touchdowns.
That's insane. I'm going to say Javion Dyer Jones will have some fresh legs next week.
I'm going to say you're right.
Only having 4 carries. All right, in Clarendon, big win down in Clarendon this week. Caleb Williams was 6 of 9 for 165 yards and a touchdown. He also had 14 carries for 58 yards. Here's a Hog commit. Mr. Quincy McAdoo in Clarendon had 4 carries for 105 yards and a touchdown and 4 catches for 75 yards and a touchdown. Kylie Booth from Clarendon, 3 carries for 125 yards, 2 scores. And Kane Cohen, 21 carries for 85 yards and 4 touchdowns.
That's awesome. That's
Yes,
awesome.
sir.
I wrote on here about Isaiah. Is it Satana?
They said, yeah, take the G out.
That's Satana.
Yeah, Santana.
He's a hog. And I saw on Twitter where Eli Wisdom had a visit yesterday to Cincinnati.
Very nice.
That's
Very
awesome.
nice.
That's awesome.
Yes, sir.
Hey, one thing I want you to look at, too, when we did our Players of the Week,
Yeah.
which we'll do here in a little bit, we left off one that I wanted to look at.
Okay.
Let me show you. I set it down so I can point to it. What do you think about that one right there?
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
You think we'll go with that one?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
All right.
All right, so into our new top 10s for this week. You want to start, or do you want me to start?
I want you to do 5A. So go ahead and do 7.
All right, I'll start in 7A. So last week we had Bryant, Conway, North Little Rock, Fayetteville, Bentonville, Cabot, Northside, Rogers, Bentonville West, and Harbor. And honestly, this 7A has not changed much in the last few weeks. It's kind of held court, but we did have a little bit of a movement, but not much. So we got Bryant number 1 still as they beat Conway in a very close game. And like we said, Conway led that ball game majority of the game. And then Bryant gets a late score with 21 seconds left to win 32-29. We kept Conway at 2. They'll be the 2 seed from the Central. North Little Rock at 3. They beat Cabot 41-26, and they will play Southside in the first round of the playoffs. Bryant and Conway will have a bye. Fayetteville, number 4, they finished 8-2 on the season. They will be the 1 seed from the West, and they'll have a bye as well. They beat Harbor 49-14. Bentonville finishes 8-2 on the season. They won at Bentonville West 56-14, which is a pretty big statement win over their rivalry there.
It is.
And they will have a bye as the 2 seed from the West as well. Cabot, number 6, they lost North Little Rock 41-26 and will play Harbor first round. Number 7, Northside won at Southwest 43-6. They play at Bentonville West first round. Rogers beat Heritage 56-18. They will play at home against Catholic. And then number 9, Bentonville West lost to Bentonville, as we talked about. They will play at home against Northside. And then Harbor lost to Fayetteville 49-14, and they will play at Cabot first round.
It's exciting, man. You know, with the 7A, you got the 2 conferences, and they a little bit of preseason playing each other.
Right.
But teams are different in the end of the season.
Yep, they
You
sure
saw
are.
that last year with
Cabot.
was it Cabot slipping up on Bentonville,
Sure was.
and this year, Conway lost to a Fayetteville team that right now I'd hate to if I was anybody, I'd hate to play Conway.
Absolutely.
So it's going to be interesting to see.
It will.
All right, so we go to 6A. Last week we had Benton on top. They were 8-1. They played Van Buren and won 42-21. Jonesboro was number 2. Took a big loss to Marion. That's a tough one there.
That's a tough loss.
It is 50-43.
Completely unexpected.
100%. Thursday night game. Just caught them by surprise, I guess.
And when you text me that score, I thought, "There's no way."
There's no way. Yeah, tough loss for Jonesboro, but it's always not too. Of course, it's not too late.
No,
they've got playoffs ahead of them.
That's right.
Number 3, Lake Hamilton, another one that took a big hit. Not shocked necessarily that Greenwood beat them, but shocked that they blanked them.
Absolutely.
And that's a repeat of last year's state championship game, which was a pretty good game for the first half especially.
Yeah.
El Dorado was number 4. They beat West Memphis handedly, 63-23. Parkview was 5. They beat Mountain Home 34-10. Number 6 was Greenwood. They beat Lake Hamilton, as we mentioned, 35-0. 7, Russellville beat Siloam Springs 45-21. Number 8, Sylvan Hills. They beat Searcy 33-7, which was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
After Searcy scoring 50 points on El Dorado, and Searcy's just really turned things around this year.
Right.
Coach Clark's done a great job. Shocked that Sylvan, they've also drastically improved, which we talked about before the season started.
Yeah, we had.
That it would happen.
Yeah, no doubt.
Marion at number 9. Oh, that's a big win for that school. Beat Jonesboro 50-43, and then Searcy, as we just mentioned, lost to Sylvan Hills. So this week, shaking things up a little bit. Benton still at number 1 at 9-1. Number 2, the Greenwood Bulldogs. They are 7-3. Yep. Number 3 is Parkview at 8-2. Number 4, Jonesboro at 7-3. 5, El Dorado at 8-3. 6, Lake Hamilton at 8-2. And then 7, Sylvan Hills. 8, Russellville. 9, Marion, and 10, Searcy. Oh, I didn't say where they all played. The top 6 have byes. But then Sylvan Hills plays Mountain Home at home. Russellville plays at Marion. Marion plays Russellville at home. I just said that. And Searcy at Parkview.
It's all good, brother.
Somebody help me with the teleprompter.
All right, so 5A. Last week we had PA 1. They won at Jacksonville 63-14. Whitehall number 2. And Whitehall beat BB 24-0. We got Greenbrier 3, and they had the big showdown, the Judges Cup against number 4 Valonia for the conference championship. Greenbrier won that game 45-22. We had Valonia number 5. Little Rock Christian beat Watson Chapel 49-12. Number 6, Wynn. Wynn lost to Nettleton, which we had at number 8. Wynn lost 26-22, so Nettleton wins the East and takes the 1 seed into the playoffs there. Number 7, we had Fairview. And Fairview was off last week.
Might have been a good time to be off for them.
From what I understand, they're down 7 or 8 starters.
That's what you were saying.
Due to injury. So we're hoping they can get healthy coming into the playoffs this week. Number 9, we had Maumelle. Maumelle was off, and number 10, Valley View beat Batesville 17-7 to knock Batesville out of the playoffs this year for the first time in probably a long, long time. So, our new top 10 this week, we got PA number 1 still. They finished 9-1 on the season. We'll take the Central 1 seed into the playoffs. And they'll play the 4 from the West, which is Harrison, which is a Harrison bunch that I believe has gotten a little bit healthier and playing better football.
They're playing better.
And, PA is not scared of anyone, but you don't want to see Harrison first round. I don't care.
Right.
I don't care who you are. So, number 2, we moved the Panthers of Greenbrier to number 2. They finished the season 10-0. Like we said earlier, only the second time in program history. They beat Valonia 45-22, and they will play at home against Maumelle, the 4 seed from the Central. Number 3, Whitehall. They will be the home seed against Farmington first round, and that ought to be an interesting ball game because Farmington's a pretty good football team. I just don't know if they've got enough offensive firepower to score on Whitehall.
I don't think they do.
And then number 4, we got Little Rock Christian. They play at Valonia, which will probably be the best game in the 5A playoffs first round. That'll be a battle there. Number 5, we have Valonia. They will have Little Rock Christian coming into Eagle Stadium there. Number 6, Fairview. They will play at home against Greene County Tech first round. 7, Nettleton will play Hot Springs. Number 8, Wynn will play Lakeside. with the winner of that game taking on Greenbrier. Maumelle going to Greenbrier, number 9, and then 10 Valley View is at Magnolia.
Yep, I'm excited about this 5A deal.
It ought to be fun.
Greenbrier is going to have a good one Friday night.
Yep.
And like you said, Valonia, the West drew some pretty tough ones to play.
Yeah, the Central's not who you want to draw
No,
first.
It isn't. So 4A, Shiloh Christian was number 1. They remain undefeated in the state, and they beat Huntsville 56-13. Joe T. Robinson beat Haskell Harmony Grove 56-19 to stay at number 2. Warren, number 3, beat Helena West Helena. It was a forfeit.
Yeah.
Arkadelphia, number 4, beat Malvern in a big way, 49-13. That's a big kind of a rivalry. It's they call it the what was it? The Washita River or something. Anyway,
Gotcha.
it's a big battle there.
I believe that was for the 2 seed as well.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I don't know. What about Ashdown?
I think Ashdown ended up getting the
4th? I would have thought they'd have been the 3 behind Arkadelphia.
Well, I think the way it worked out, if Malvern would have beat,
They could have had. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So Ashdown is probably now the 3rd.
Yes, that's
yeah,
right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So Stuttgart, number 5, beat CAC 63-28. Crossit. This was one that kind of shocked me. Lost to Star City, not because of Star City, because they have had a great season.
They have.
But Crossit, being number 6 in the state, they lost to Star City 29-27. Ashdown beat Fountain Lake 49-18. Number 8 Ozark beat Waldron 42-3. Number 9 Prairie Grove beat Elkins in a pretty impressive win there, 45-19.
Yeah.
And then Southside beat Bald Knob 37-8. So, new top 10s. Number 1, Shiloh Christian. They play at home against Cave City, first round of playoffs. Number 2, Joe T. Robinson plays Mills at home. 3, Warren has a bye. Arkadelphia, number 4, plays Clinton at home. Number 5, Stuttgart plays Monticello at home. I want to say that might be a rematch. They played them earlier in the season. They may not have.
I'm not sure.
Number 6, Ashdown goes to Lone Oak. Number 7, Ozark plays Huntsville at home. Number 8, Prairie Grove plays Westside. I guess is that
Jonesboro Westside.
Jonesboro Westside. Yeah. Number 9, Crossit plays Pottsville at home, and then 10, Southside plays Star City at home. Let me tell you, if you're Lone Oak and you get that 2 seed over there, and you draw Ashdown,
Yeah.
what a tough break.
That's a tough break there for sure. All right, so 3A we go. Last week our top 10 was Prescott 1. They beat Glen Rose for the conference championship and the 1 seed in the playoffs, 49-23. Number 2, Boonville last week. They won at Perryville easily, 50-13. Number 3, Harding Academy beat Salem 45-0. 4, McGee won at Smackover 42-0. Number 5, Hoxie beat Walnut Ridge 49-0. Number 6, Osceola, and this one was a little bit of a shocker to me, Junk. Osceola took it on the chin to Manila 13-0.
Wow.
So a little bit of a shocker there. Number 7, Charleston beat Lavaca 46-7. Number 8, Paris. Paris beat Danville 61-19, so put up a bunch of points there. Number 9, Glen Rose lost to Prescott 49-23, and number 10, Jessieville won at Horatio 31-22.
Manila's a good football team.
Sure.
But to shut out Osceola,
Right.
Just a week or 2 weeks maybe after Hoxie beat them by
Yeah, a bunch.
6 or 7 scores, I
Yeah.
would say. Yeah.
Just a weird score
Yeah.
there. All right, our new top 10 this week. Prescott, the Curly Wolves, number 1 going into the playoffs. They will play at home against Lake Village. Boonville finished 9-1 on the season with their only loss coming to that Texas school. They will play at home against Salem. Harding Academy finishes 8-2 on the season and the 1 seed, and they will play at home against West Fork. McGee Owls finish undefeated in the regular season again and will play at home against Walnut Ridge. Number 5, Hoxie will have a bye first round. Number 6, Charleston will have a bye first round. Number 7, Paris will play at home against Riverview. And congratulations to Riverview. That's the first time they've made the playoffs in a few years.
Yeah.
I believe they went winless last year.
That's
so.
Coach Keelan.
Yeah, so got them in the playoffs this year. Number 8, Glen Rose will play at home against Dollarway. Number 9, Osceola will play at home against Centerpoint. And number 10, Jessieville will play on the road at Rising.
And that's a tough one right there.
Yeah, for
Whoa.
sure.
All right. We go to my 2A.
Your 2A boys.
My 2A. So number 1 in Bigelow, they're the Panthers, aren't they? Yeah, they are 9-0 coming into this week. They finished the regular season 10-0 after a win over Conway Christian 54-14. Number 2, McCrory beats a pretty good Earl team 42-8. Number 3, Des Arc lost to Clarendon 47-0. Fordyce at number 4, they beat Bearden 42-8, which I didn't really say much about the Clarendon deal, but that is a shocker.
That was, I thought that would be a good ball game.
Sure, it's not necessarily a shocker that they lost,
right? But 47-0.
I mean, that is just
that's a beatdown.
It is. Number 5, Hazen was off. Number 6, Clarendon beat Des Arc 47-0, as I just mentioned. And let me tell you, this 2 through 6, 2, 3, 5, and 6, they've all had to beat up on each other.
They have.
And you look in one of them beat another one really bad, and then the rest of them were close, and then this Clarendon was 47. So it's just kind of hard to pick who's who.
It is.
Number 7, Quitman, they rolled against their for that number 2 spot over there, 40-14 over Hector. And then number 8 was Hector. And number 9, Magnet Cove beat Pullen 30-6. That's another one, a big conference. I think that's for the championship.
I think it was.
Number 10, Junction City was off. Let's go over here to our new top 10. Number 1, Bigelow, and my poor Mineral Springs Hornets, winless, have got to travel to Bigelow for the first round of the playoffs.
Maybe it'll be a nice scenic drive for them.
I hope it is. I hope they eat well. Number 2, McCrory, 9-1. They'll play Yellville Summit at home. Number 3, Fordyce, they'll have a bye the first round. Number 4, Clarendon. They don't play Clarendon. That's what I've got, though.
They play Bearden.
They play Bearden first round?
Yes, sir.
I've got Clarendon playing for Clarendon. I'm not on my game this week. I think Friday night just
it took it all
out of me.
It did.
All right. So number 5, Des Arc, they play Parker's Chapel at home. Number 6, Hazen, they go to Hampton. Number 7, Quitman plays Foreman at home. That's another school from 7A, the 7AA. Magnet Cove, number 8, they've got a bye. Number 9, Junction City plays Girton. 2 Southern teams there.
Yep.
And then number 10, Hector plays Earl at home.
All right. So that will round us out of our top 10. And so it's a special time of year right now, John.
It's playoff time, baby.
It's playoff time. We saw a little glimpse last week of some scores and some things happening that, a lot of people didn't foresee happening.
Right.
And that's just the time of year it is. And so
it is.
You get into these playoffs and these brackets, and you're going to see some upsets and some things happen that not necessarily you expect to. So.
Let me tell you, I wanted to mention something else about Friday night. Before the game, we did a 2-hour pregame show. Mm-hmm. I'm on do part of the broadcast for Greenbrier, and it was awesome. It was. We had Craig O'Neill on for about 15 minutes. He was as expected. Like, you see him on TV and you're like, man, I bet he's a great guy. And a lot of times those guys are not what they seem.
Sure.
He's every bit as what you think he'd be.
That's awesome.
Just a super good guy. He's hilarious.
Yeah.
He just had a fun time. Right. And you could tell like he was having fun there with us.
Sure.
And he just bragged on us too, made us feel good about ourselves. Randy Rainwater and Kevin Bohannon were just a few feet away from us in their tent doing the Sonic Blast pregame show.
Right.
And then, of course, the Buzz did the game, the radio, RJ and Roger. And, it was so cool. We had Coach BJ come in and sit with us for a few minutes and talk to him, which if anybody knows about Greenbrier or the area knows who Coach BJ is.
Absolutely.
He's been a coach for 29 years, since the 7th grade.
That's right. That's right.
So he's an awesome dude. But just a really cool deal. We gave away some Morgan Wallen tickets.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's
it was
cool.
just awesome.
Good
so anyway, I just wanted to say that because it was pretty fun.
Yeah. You'll have to send me that link.
You got to watch it. It's really fun.
All right, so what we're going to do now is Junk and I, although we're going to go through our 25 games and pick those like we typically do, right now we're going to give you our final 4 for our brackets as we've both filled out a bracket for each classification. So
I'm not excited about this, by the way.
We're going to start at 7A, and so I've got Fayetteville playing Conway in one semifinal and Bryant playing Bentonville, and then I've got Conway and Bryant in the finals with Conway winning the state championship.
Not so fast, my friend. I've got Fayetteville and Conway as well, which that'll be at Fayetteville, and then I've got Bryant playing North Little Rock,
Oh,
which will be at Bryant.
nice.
But I too have Conway playing Bryant. Who did you say was going to win the whole thing?
Conway.
Okay, good. I've got Conway winning the whole thing. also.
Nice, very nice.
We're picking with our heart. Listen, and it's not that we don't like Bryant. We like Bryant.
Oh, yeah.
We had a great interview with Coach Buck James.
Yeah.
And some other Bryant people have really been great fans. But we're in Faulkner County.
That's right. That's right. And like we talked about earlier, it's hard to beat the same team twice.
It is. It is.
So Conway led that game most of the time, and so it'll be tough for Bryant to beat them again. 6A we go. I've got Jonesboro playing Greenwood at Jonesboro in first semi, and I've got Benton in a rematch against Lake Hamilton in the second semi, with Greenwood and Benton advancing to the championship with the Greenwood Bulldogs as
So
my
you
6A.
had Greenwood playing Jonesboro? Mm-hmm. I've got Parkview playing Greenwood.
Okay.
And then I've got Benton at El Dorado. Who'd you have Benton playing?
Lake Hamilton.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know you was wrong on both of them.
Well, if it holds serve like it has all year, yes, I will be wrong.
Listen, you got a 60% chance of being right. All right. So I've got Greenbrier and Benton, or Greenwood and Benton, and Benton winning the whole thing. You say Greenwood winning the whole thing?
Yeah, I got the Panthers. Or I mean the Bulldogs pulling it
Now,
out.
now, this is going to be one for Benton that's going to be tough because, like we said, it's hard to beat that same team time. They beat them by one.
Yeah, that's right.
But I'm going with the Panthers.
Okay, all right. 5A we go, and this one is definitely a pick with my heart, but I've got Greenbrier and PA in the first semifinal, with PA having to come to Greenbrier, and then Whitehall playing Valonia in the second semifinal. And I've got Greenbrier advancing to take on Whitehall at War Memorial Stadium. The upset of the year as the Panthers knock off PA at home to advance to the finals, and I've got the Panthers winning the state title this year.
Okay. So I feel like I need to prerequisite this. Okay. Because I'm the Greenbrier, one of the broadcast guys. And so my heart is 100% with the Panthers. And every game they play, I'm pulling for them 110,000%.
I don't think anybody questions that.
I don't think so either. But I've got Greenbrier and PA in the semis.
Yeah.
And I've got Whitehall and Christian in the semis. And I've got Pulaski Academy and Whitehall in the finals.
Okay.
I just, as much as I hate to do that, I'm trying to separate my feelings from what I would be as a sports analyst.
Sure.
And that's where I'm at.
Well, it's like we talked about. Everybody in the state of Arkansas, besides
Matt Wilcox,
besides the parents of Panther players,
yeah,
we'll pick PA to win that game. And we'll be a huge underdog in that game.
We will be. By the way, on the pregame show the other night, we were talking about the different picks and stuff, and I mentioned that you picked Greenbrier by 3 and I picked him by 10, and that was because I was a better Greenbrier fan. I was a bigger Greenbrier fan than you.
Right.
But I've got Pulaski Academy beating Whitehall in the finals.
Okay. All right. So 4A, I've got Shiloh Christian taking on Arkadelphia, and that game will be in Shiloh, unfortunately, for Arkadelphia.
Yeah, really.
That's a tough place.
It is a tough place to play.
Yeah.
It'll be fun to play there.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
But, yeah.
And then in the other semi, I've got Stuttgart taking on Robinson, and I've got Robinson and Shiloh meeting in War Memorial, with Shiloh Christian winning back-to-back state titles.
So you're playing that hard to beat the same team twice thing with that War and Stuttgart deal.
Yeah.
Now, that was a pretty big win.
It was 20 points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going Shiloh and Arkadelphia and Warren and Robinson.
I like it.
And then I've got Shiloh playing Robinson with the Shiloh Christian Saints as the state champions.
Very nice. 3A, this will be a fun bracket here. I've got McGee, the Owls, advancing over Hoxie team that they met last year in the semis. That'll be a good ball game, but I got McGee advancing to take on Prescott in the semis, and then Harding beating Charleston, and then Booneville over Glen Rose to make it to the semis. And I've got Prescott and Booneville to meet in the finals, with Prescott winning the state title.
Well, we're awfully close on this one. Yep. And I've gone back and forth. So I also have McGee beating Hoxie, which will not be shocked if it's the other way around.
Not at all.
And then I've got Prescott beating Paris to go to the semis. And then down there on the bottom side, I've got Charleston losing to Harding Academy and Booneville beating Camden Harmony Grove. I have Harding Academy beating Booneville.
Do you really?
I do.
Nice.
I think it's going to be a A lot of scoring.
I will not be shocked one bit if that happens.
No, I won't be shocked if Boonville wins.
Right.
I mean, you're talking about two completely different teams.
And honestly, I mean, we've had these 4 teams in our top 4 almost all year.
Right.
So,
and I mean, you're talking about the spread versus the flex bone. Right. I mean, it couldn't be any different.
That's right.
So who knows?
Yeah.
And then, Prescott McGee's a tough one. My heart wants to go with Prescott. I really want them to win.
Sure.
I really like Coach Glass, and then Prescott's just kind of where I'm from, that area. But I'm gonna go with McGee playing Harding Academy, and then I'm gonna take Harding Academy with the 3-peat.
wow.
Yeah,
Nice. I like it. All right, and then 2A, I've got Fordyce taking on Clarendon in one semi. I've got Clarendon beating Quitman and Fordyce beating Magnet Cove. And then in the bottom side of the bracket, I've got Bigelow, the Panthers, beating Poen, and then McCrory beating Des Arc, with Bigelow and Clarendon meeting in the finals with the Bigelow Panthers, the team we've had number 1 most of the year.
Yep, they have been
taking on the title.
I've actually had them at number 1 since day one.
You have?
I have, and which is not going to make very much sense here in a second. So I got Fordyce beating Magnet Cove to go to the semis. I've got Clarendon beating Quitman to go to the semifinals. I would love to watch that game.
Yeah,
I'm pulling for Quitman. I mean, I am. I mean,
sure.
I've been pretty vocal, not because of anything other than
proximity.
Yeah. I like the coach.
Sure.
I like the quarterback, and then one of the linemen is like another son to me. So, all right. So I actually have Dirks beating Poen.
Do you really?
That was a 2-point game.
Yeah.
Poen beat them, and they're going to play at Dirks again.
That's true.
So it's going to be home.
I want to say, didn't last year in the playoffs that same scenario happen?
Yeah, it was something similar. Yeah. You're right. And then I've got Bigelow beating Dirks to go to the semis, and I've got McCrory and Des Arc, with McCrory pulling off that one. That would be the second time they beat them this year, which might be tough.
It'd be tough, but I've got the same thing.
Then I've got Bigelow losing to McCrory in the semis,
man.
with Fordyce beating McCrory after they beat Clarendon to be the returning. Would this be a 3-peat for them too?
Yeah,
I think it is. I think it is.
Wow. So you got Fordyce beating Clarendon.
I do. The Red Bugs just going to keep on rolling.
That's right. All right. So we'll see how those brackets shake out. And now we'll get to our games of the week and our picks, and I need to make up some deadgum ground.
You do. You do. Hey, you got 25 chances right here.
That's right. All right, so let's get started. Number 1, Catholic will go to Rogers, and I've got Rogers by 17.
I've got Rogers by 3.
Okay. Northside at Bentonville West. I've got Northside in this one by 6.
I got them by 10.
Russellville at Marion. I've got Russellville by 7.
I've got Russellville by 5.
Okay. Mountain Home going to Sylvan Hills. I've got Sylvan Hills by 13.
I got them by 7.
Cersei going to Parkview. I've got Parkview by 16.
I got Parkview by 11. Hey, real quick, what did you have Rogers by the first one?
17.
17. And then how much did you have Parkview by?
Parkview 16.
Okay,
Yep.
all right, go ahead.
All right, Lakeside is going to travel to Wynn over in the Delta and play the what's Wynn? Yellow Jackets.
Yellow Jackets.
I went blank there for a minute. I've got Wynn in this one by 3. I think this is going to be a little bit closer ball game, and wouldn't be shocked if Lakeside pulled off an upset on this one.
It would be a pretty big one.
Yeah.
Wynn, I've got them by 12.
Okay. Valley View at Magnolia, a Magnolia team that is dangerous. And we've kind of had them ranked pretty high all year. They haven't had the season that we thought they would, but they're playing well right here coming into the playoffs. I've got Magnolia by 10.
I got Magnolia by 7. But let me say this. They're going to have to play some defense if they're going to go anywhere
That's right.
in the playoffs, because we know they can score, but they have not stopped anybody.
And that'll probably, more than likely, if they win that game, give them another matchup against PA like last year.
Yeah.
So, then Maumelle, the Hornets will travel to Greenbrier, about a 20-minute drive up the road there. And I've got the Panthers in this one by 14.
I got Greenbrier by 14 as well.
Okay, Little Rock Christian going to Valonia. And, the Valonia score It could have been a lot worse. I'll put it that way. We had 2 touchdowns called back.
And then we didn't score in the end.
Right. I do think that game kind of hinged on a special teams play there early in the game, and everything just kind of went downhill for Valonia. So I've got Valonia in this one by 3.
I've got Christian by 7.
Okay. It's the first one we picked different. Hot Springs going to the East champion Nettleton. I've got Nettleton by 6.
I've got Nettleton by 7, but this is one that I kind of feel like you do on the win game.
Yeah.
I think that this one could be
I'm with you.
Could be interesting.
I'm with you. Greene County Tech will travel to Fairview, and we'll see if Fairview has gotten healthy. Hopefully they have. I've got Fairview by 17.
I got Fairview by 14. I'm going to try to reach out to Coach Stone down there and see what the status is on the players.
That'd be good.
You said 17?
Yeah. Number 12, Dardanelle travels to Elkins. I've got the Elks by 8.
I got Dardanelle by 3.
Nice.
That one could be one that you take from me. I'll tell you right up front.
Star City with a big win last week. To coming into the playoffs with a little momentum. We'll travel to Batesville Southside. I've got Southside in this one by 8.
I got them by 4.
Mena going to Truman. I've got Truman by 10.
I got Truman by 3.
Number 15, Ashdown going to Lone Oak. I've got Ashdown by 7.
I got Ashdown by 12.
Gentry travels to Lamar. Lamar by 10.
I got Lamar by 2, but this is a rematch from earlier in the season where Gentry beat Lamar by 5.
Right.
Yep.
Be a good.
You said Lamar by what?
10.
10.
Number 17, Fountain Lake, out of that tough 7-4A, will travel to Northeast and play Pocahontas. I've got Pocahontas by 3.
I got Pocahontas by 8.
Okay. Number 18, Pottsville travels to Crossit. I've got Crossit by 16.
I got them by 6.
Number 19, Malvern going to DeWitt, and this one might shock you, Junk, but I've got Malvern by 1.
I got DeWitt by 3.
Very nice.
But this was one I really had to think about.
Yeah, me too. All right, number 20, Perryville travels to take on the Bearcats of Melbourne. I've got Melbourne by 7.
I've got Melbourne by 3, but let me tell you, I wouldn't count Perryville out.
No, for sure. All right, number 21, Center Point travels to Osceola, and we had talked about this a few weeks ago about how you wouldn't want to draw Center Point as that 4 seed. Well, Osceola is the one that did that. I think it'll be a good matchup. Yep. This Osceola loss last week made me scratch my head a little bit, so I'm going to go with Center Point in this one by 3.
I'm going with Osceola by 7.
Okay.
I understand 100% where you're coming from and why you picked that, and I think that it could happen.
Sure. All right, number 22, Jessieville takes on the Wildcats from Rising at Rising. I'm going Rising by 10.
I picked Rising by 3.
Okay. Atkins, the Red Devils, get into the playoffs and unfortunately have to take on Daryl Kadich and the Cedarville and at Cedarville, and I'm going with Cedarville by 13.
I feel bad for him because touchdown Sims. I want to pull for you, man, but I'm gonna tell you, if you can find out how to stop that guy, you got a chance.
Touchdown Sims may have to dress out.
That's right. He might have to.
Number 24, Gurdon at Junction City. I'm going Junction City by 6.
I went with Junction by 16.
Okay, and then number 25, Earl travels to Hector. I've got Earl in the upset in this one. I've got Earl by 7.
Really?
I do.
I've got Hector by 6.
All right, so that's 4 or 5 different.
Yeah.
So maybe I
can make some ground up this week.
Maybe so, man. I need to. Good grief. I'm down by a touchdown.
You know, playoffs is where it all changed last year.
That's right.
We've got to go over our players of the week.
That's right. It's time.
It is. All right, you ready?
You bet. Give them to us.
I don't know what I just did. Let's see if I can back out of this. Oh, I got it. Maybe. Maybe not.
What you doing?
Okay. All right. Sorry. I just erased everything. Fortunately, there's an undo button. It
Our best friend.
Came in handy. Yeah. All right. So, players of the week, between the match, players of the week for week 10 in 2A from Clarendon, Quincy McAdoo. Great game from Quincy. This will be the second time I believe he's won it.
Yep.
Number 3, 3A, and I wrote this down a while ago, and then I guess when I just undid it all. Hold on here. Y'all don't hang up on me. Jalen Hobson from Prescott.
Yeah.
19 carries, 270 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Prescott has not had one this year, I don't believe.
I don't believe so.
So glad to give them one.
Yep.
They deserve it. At 4A, Donovan Witten
There
from
you go.
Arkadelphia. You know, this is a kid I'm a fan of.
Yeah, sure.
And his dad's been a real, supporter of the show.
Yeah.
So that's not why he won.
No.
He won it because he earned it.
That's right.
Well, he had a great game. So glad that Donovan is our 4A guy. 5A, Javion Dyer-Jones over at Little Rock Christian. Heck of a game Friday night. No shocker there. He's kind of got the blood for it, doesn't he?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
All right, 6A, Sherman Rester. This is one that I'm kind of shocked hasn't won it yet because he does put up a lot of stats. But that 6A's produced a lot of big numbers this year.
It really has. Yeah.
So El Dorado, Sherman Rester. And then number 7A from Bentonville, quarterback Drew Wright.
Very nice. Congratulations to those guys. We will get your shirts out in the mail hopefully by the end of this week or first of next week. So be on the lookout for those. And if you would, just shoot us a picture and we'll get it posted on our Twitter page.
We sure will.
That's been a great deal and have enjoyed doing that. And hopefully, next year we'd like to expand that and hopefully give out a Player of the Year award per classification.
Yes.
So
let me tell you, I can post something on Twitter, even from our show on Twitter, and I can post something from, we can get one of those. I can post the Player of the Week deal, and they get way more likes and retweets than I do when I post something. So might be a little jealous, but also I think it's awesome, and I'm glad that we're doing it.
yeah, absolutely. All right, my man, you got anything else?
That's it, man. We're ready to roll.
It's playoff time, baby.
It is. I can't wait.
So go Hogs, go Panthers, and y'all get out and support these kids. Only a few weeks left in the football season, so take your chance, get out and support them, and just enjoy it.
And we will see you next week.
Yes, sir.
Later on.